Hello everyone. It has been a really long time since I've been on camera or have made any sort of video. Um, and hopefully at Invisible Gamer we'll be able to do that again. But I'm going to put this on my own YouTube channel just to talk about my 5 most nostalgic video games. Now I didn't put these in a list, and I came up with this list. Well, I didn't put them in an ordered list, and I came up with the list itself pretty quickly. I was tagged by Michael Burns, that's at Invisible Gamer, or Invisible Gamer on Twitter, along with a couple other people. And so yeah, I want to give you my 5 nostalgic video games. These come, I guess, not terribly surprisingly, from a pretty early period in my life. I think a lot of people tend to be nostalgic for when they were a lot younger. So that's it. And yeah, I'll tag a couple people at the end, see if they're willing to do this as well. So without further ado, I'm going to actually start off with a game that was on Michael's list. And as soon as I saw that he had tagged me, this was one of the first games that came to mind, and then I saw it was on his list, and I'm just going to do it anyway. Hopefully, there's the title right there, Super Mario 64. Yes, this was one of the first video games I played, actually. That came out, I guess, pretty soon after I was born, but the N64 was, what, 95? Or 96, maybe? So it was very, very soon, after I was born, so I wasn't really old enough to play it when it first came out, but my brother had an N64, and so gradually I'd be able to just sort of play that game and run around. And that's the great thing about Super Mario 64 is it's not like the other 2D Marios where you're immediately going into a level and you run it and you're going to die, or you're going to fall into a pit, or you're not going to be able to deal with whatever obstacles in the way. Like, there's that stuff in Super Mario 64, but you can also just run around the grounds of the castle and jump from trees and mess with the physics and get a bird to steal your hat and run up the endless staircase and all that sort of stuff. So I love this game. I have a copy of it sitting actually over there, I think, in a bin, but I'm not going to pull all the games out. One of the games I don't actually own, so that's important. But yeah, this game, I still come back to it sometimes. My grandma bought an N64 when we were young. Actually, before we got ours, she had one to give us incentive to go visit, and that was one of the games she has. So I've played a lot of it sitting on the floor of her living room as well. Second game, and several of these are either Nintendo games or on Nintendo systems, and that's just, I tend to have more nostalgia, I guess, for those games, even though I don't play them quite as much as I used to. But second game on the list, Pokemon Gold and Silver. Now, why did I pick Gold and Silver and not Red and Blue? Well, Red and Blue, again, came out when I was very, very young. And I actually started to learn to read because I wanted to play, I guess it was Red was the one I had. And I couldn't because, I was 3 years old and I could only read a little bit. So that encouraged me to start. But when Gold and Silver came out, I was in, I think, the 2nd grade, and everyone was playing that game. It was kind of like how Pokemon Go is now, I guess. Everyone I knew at school was playing this game. We all brought our Game Boy Advances, and I think they might have told us we couldn't bring them anymore, but we'd all go outside for recess after lunch and just battle each other. And it was awesome, and I traded with people. I actually had both versions. I don't know why I did that. I bought both. But I love the starter Pokemon in that game. It's one of the biggest Pokemon games out there still. And it's just the one that I kind of think back on the most fondly. I also really did like Ruby, which I know that game gets some flack now for some of the decisions they have in it, but I really, really, really love Gold and Silver. I think it's probably still the best generation, and I'm excited still to play. Probably get Sun out of the two, between Sun and Moon. So this one's different. Third game, Halo Combat Evolved. I think I was 8 maybe when I played this for the first time. We didn't get an Xbox at launch. We got it the next winter. My brother and I, it was like a combined present for both of us. And this was the game I obviously, wanted to get the Xbox for. It was Halo Combat Evolved. I hadn't really touched the campaign much, but I had played a bunch of the multiplayer at our neighbor's place. They had it, local multiplayer. We ordered pizzas and we'd sit there and just kill each other on Blood Gulch for hours and hours and hours on end. And I look back on that time really, really fondly. But I also, once I got the game, really, really liked the campaign, and it's made me a lifelong Halo fan. I love the series. I played, I guess, all but ODST. I do have ODST, I just haven't played it. And yeah, that's sort of. It's not. I wouldn't say it's an obsession with Halo, but I look back on the first one very fondly. Fourth game I do not own, but reminds me of just a lot of fun I had when I was younger, and that is Mario Superstar Baseball or Mario Super Sluggers, either one. These are games that my neighbor had. After we were done going outside to play baseball for several hours, we would come inside and play Mario Superstar Baseball. It's not an especially great baseball game, but we love the characters, we love the Mario universe, and the humor and all that sort of stuff, and we just had a really fun time playing it. Last, a game that I think is very underrated, actually. Dragon Ball Z: The Legacy of Goku 2. Now, The Legacy of Goku 1's terrible. It's really bad. The combat's terrible, the controls are awful, it's really short, the bosses, nothing's fun. They completely redid it for Legacy of Goku 2, have you play as a bunch of different characters during what I think is the best part of the Dragon Ball Z storyline, and that is the Android and the Cell sagas. So if you haven't played this game, definitely check it out. Boost Fury isn't quite as good, but it's almost the exact same sort of gameplay. It's on Game Boy Advance. Skip Legacy of Goku 1 completely, and go for this one. So that is my list. I hope you like some of these games also, or are nostalgic for them, or whatever, if you're around my age. So I'm going to tag two people. They probably saw this one coming, so I'm going to tag Tristan Ettleman. That's Ettle Todd on YouTube, and if he doesn't, or on Twitter rather, and if he doesn't do this, you can bug him about it. And Amy Brighter. They're both at Invisible Gamer, and I want to hear what they have to say, because I think they both had very different sort of gaming experiences growing up. All right, thanks everyone, and hopefully I'll talk to you soon.